let's talk about keys to success. All right. What are some of the biggest challenges? And you can either speak from personal experience or just in general. What are some of the biggest challenges that a new Scrum Master might face?
Getting in the door.
Okay. So that's
Getting
still
in
a
the door.
thing.
That's and what I mean by getting in the door is that's why I spoke to talking about enlisting your transferable skills, because your transferable skills along with the keywords is going to help you hopefully bypass some of these systems
Mm-hmm.
that you get this automatic decline from, being able to do that. But then the next thing would be to speak confidently
Mm.
about, what you've learned, your skills, what you're able to offer, the organization. You have to speak to what they're asking you about from a Scrum perspective with confidence. Once they know that you know the material, they leave you alone. Let me give you an example. I've had, I don't know how many interviews when I was um, becoming a Scrum Master, to where I hesitated during the interview, and I could tell that I did. But the times in which I became more comfortable and I began to answer the interview questions a lot better, I was able to get the job a lot faster.
Mm-hmm.
And that was me just talking about my experience, what I've done, what I'm able to offer. It went away. The questions, the interview questions went away from Scrum Master to just a whole nother topic. Once the person who I was interviewing with realized, oh, she understands, she knows, then it was over.
Okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This may not necessarily apply, but there is this term imposter syndrome that comes up all the time. And I guess I'm old school. And based upon what I think I know about it, I know it's a psychological thing, but that's another subject for another day. But imposter syndrome apparently is a thing. Is How can someone overcome imposter syndrome if that is applicable in their particular case as it relates to starting off as a Scrum Master?
So when you say imposter syndrome, I want to make sure I have the right understanding
As
before I
I
can.
understand it, imposter syndrome is someone who, in the greater scheme of things, is more than competent to do a thing,
Mhm.
but internally they may feel as if they don't necessarily that people view them as being someone who doesn't necessarily have the
Okay,
level of competence to do a thing.
I got you. So to me, I don't call that imposter syndrome. I call that internal confidence.
Or lack thereof, huh?
Yeah, or the lack thereof. So for a person walking into a Scrum Master role, whether you have certification or not, know that you got the job over anyone else for a reason and a purpose. And walk into the job as if you own the place. If someone questions you on it, I've had people question me on it before, about the way in which things are going to work, and I had to go back and let them know that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. And I've even had to go back and say, based upon the material that I've read, this is where you're supposed, this is your role, this is my role. And be able to give them that feedback back. And that's where that communication piece comes back in, as we talked about before, being able to communicate to that person regardless of their position. I mean, you may have to have, as a Scrum Master, you may have to have this conversation with a product owner. You may have to have a conversation like this with a stakeholder. You may even have to have the conversation with the CEO, just depending upon how where the conversation goes. But if you are right and you know that you are right, stand 10 toes down, be polished in your answer, but deliver the message.